What is up, guys? Zach in here.
Rick in here.
And in today's video, we are going to show you like a $4,000 or $5,000 weekend seminar on a boat again. And really what we're going to do is we're going to hype you up and really share you and really give you actually real information. So what we're going to do is really share how to make $40,000 in 40 days or less. We're going to give you an action plan, everything you need to know on exactly how to make over $40,000 in 40 days or less with what we call, you got to think of a guru, right?
Yeah.
So if I'm going to sell you a $4,000 weekend seminar on my boat, and I can tell you this, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to have to do a sexy name, right? So what are the names we can do? We can call it the Gin method. We can think of an animal, the lizard method. We could put an animal with it. What's a snazzy name I can sell people things, And then I'm like, you know what? Let's just do, I just made something up, So what we did was I kind of thought about it. I'm like, you know what? Let's do this. We're going to call it the 40-40-44 method. And there's a lot of fours in this. But if we're going to make $40,000 in 40 days, we're going to do a lot of fours. All right. We're going to do a lot of F's in that, right? A lot of fours, right? So really got to look at that, right? So I really look at it as this. So this is the method we're going to teach today. The 40-40-44 method. And what is the 40-40-40? What is the 40-44 method, right? The 40-40-44 method is a method where I'm going to show you how to make $40,000 in 40 days, working 40 hours a week so you can get 4 deals.
Wow.
That's really what we're going to share today. And it's, we're looking at the weekend seminar, right? We start on maybe a Saturday. We end on a Sunday. We start on Friday, jacked up.
Do I get a nice dinner too?
Oh, of course you get the steak dinner. And then we go on the sunset cruise on the boat. And I don't have to talk about my real business in front of you guys because I'm scared. And you got a jacket and a hat, right?
Jacket and the hat.
A jacket and then the hat.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously.
And then you need nice tennis shoes with it too.
Yeah. So guys, or put my
apparently that's the new accomplished look.
I don't
whatever.
Know. So guys,
I like the t-shirt method and the shorts and the flip-flops,
but that's what we're going to do today. I'm excited. I'm ready to go for you guys. So if you're ready to go, if you're jacked up to learn wholesaling real estate, do us a favor. Make sure you guys hit that like button and subscribe. If you're getting any value from this, hit that like button and subscribe. There's more people watching us live than we can even fit in a seminar usually. So that's why that's the way we do it.
But you got to get on a flight. You got to get a hotel.
Guys, you're saving a lot of money on this. So if you're doing
a ton of money,
make sure you subscribe to the channel and everything like that. So without further ado,
let's do it.
If we got to have a little thing, we got to, the gurus like doing this like weird rap beats. And
let's
then
bring out
they edit it all. Like, I don't
the
care.
Entertainer, man.
We got a DJ. He's going to jack you guys up. It's wholesaling time. And we're going to learn wholesaling real estate for free. So let's get it going, guys.
Let's do it.
Woo!
Get the fuck out of bed, bitch. Go. Get up, and they got go. Time to wake up, bitch. Get up. Get up. Get up.
Snap! We've got a lot of people on today, don't we?
Oh, yeah. People are eager today, man.
People are ready to go. People are excited. People are ready to go to learn wholesaling real estate absolutely for free. So I'm super excited. I'm ready to help the people out. I'm ready to share exactly how you can become as successful as possible in your wholesaling real estate business. So without further ado, let's get into it. Let's talk about it. Let's really break it down today. And it's an interesting method, right? You're going to make a ton of money doing this. And it's not for the faint of heart either, right? Like it does take some work and you're going to put the hours in. But if you put the hours in, you'll become successful. And honestly, what I can tell you is for a lot of people, right, we've had some crazy challenges and thoughts and things like that. And what I can tell you with this method is this method's worked for a lot of people. a lot of people have actually watched what we've done and they've actually come very successful with it. And that's really what I want to help the people out today with it. So let's talk about it, right? Let's really break things down and let's really get into the nitty gritty of it and really share things. And one thing I want to get people excited for, right? Because I do want to say this. We help a lot of people out, and we do want to give it one shout out before we get into everything always when we hop on a live together, because we're getting a lot of people sharing their wins. So I'm going to share a couple of wins I found from people from our last challenge we did and from people just listening to the stuff we talk about. So the first question is, like, if I'm running a seminar, I got to jack you guys up. So I'm actually treating this like a real seminar. So let's talk about the seminar, right? How do I get people to actually pay attention? I got to actually show them stuff for them to pay attention. So let's show some wins from people that actually listen to what we say. Because it's like, who is this crazy guy? Who's this other crazy dude? Why are they screaming? Why is there a DJ? Why am I going to listen to these crazy people? They don't know what they're doing. Let me just share you exactly how you know what we're doing. I'm assuming you guys don't know who we are. So we go here. This is our mastermind, 80,000 strong. I'm going to give a shout out to what our stuff works. So here's Britton. Britton's learning from our stuff. She's out the closing company. A nice $30,000 assignment right there.
That's awesome.
Let's get it. Excited for her. She's doing well. And then one other here, just shout out to Fernando here. He does a revert. He got another deal from Reverse Rank for dollars, $10,370, guys. So
wait a minute. I thought you had to have skin in the game to make wholesaling work. That's what I'm pitched every day. This can't be true. Do you guys realize you can do this? Like this thing where you're going to pay someone X amount of fees, they're going to share all the secrets for you. We have removed that. And honestly, I have more experience than most of them all put together. And with Zach along my side, like we're here for the long haul. So I'm just telling you, I'm so tired of that argument. I think we can put it to bed this year that it doesn't matter. You're all going to go on a journey. You have to choose on who you go with it. At the end of the day, you have to be accountable for the actions you take in wholesaling. That is the biggest obstacle between you and getting paid. If you don't take the action, you won't get paid. It's that simple. You don't need a guru and spend thousands of dollars to figure this out. We've proven it over and over every day. We have the largest active wholesaling Facebook group, hands down, Wholesaling Houses for Real. You guys see our YouTube, like it's just exploding, and it's all for you guys. All we do is give you guys what you want, which is you want the truth and you want it to be authentic. And without that, you can never truly have transparency on how this business works. This business has its challenges. It's got issues, but it's easily solvable. So many people think if I pay a guru, you guys think by paying this fee, it solves your problem. And we've already proven that is not the case. So don't be laundered like, oh, it's free. Anything's are free. Yeah, we're the only guys, actually guys and gals, there's no gals here, but we're the only ones that do 100% free. I do not have a lead funnel to trick you into something. I know it's rare. It's extremely crazy, but you guys have proven it works. And I don't listen to other gurus and stuff like that because you're the only ones that I'm trying to please. I'm trying to give you true transparency on how it works. This journey didn't start. This journey started back in 2003 for you. Like I didn't start in 2015 to go, let me show you how to do it in the greatest market of all time. So if you guys enjoy the content, you have fun, make sure you hit that like button, you hit subscribe, and we want to share this with as many people as possible.
So I appreciate y'all. Let's get into everything. And remember, guys, we have a free wholesaling course where we just teach wholesaling because I cannot individually talk to everybody one-on-one. There's too many people, and I'm not a broke guru. I make a ton of money in my business, and I'm not here to go answer and go out to coffee with y'all. But I will do some one-on-ones with you guys on when the allowed time that we have. So make sure you guys go to freewholesaling.com, and it's all in there. But really, let's break down the method. So now I said a lot of fours in this method, right? So we're going to do the tongue twister again, but this method is the 40 method.
Yes.
And I got to ask everybody a question. How many methods? So technically, how many ways do you think you can do the 40 method? I want everyone to know in the chat. Let me know in the chat how many different ways you can attack this method. Is it one way? Is it two ways? Is there 40 ways? How many ways do you think you can attack this method? And I figured out, And Chase has it. There's 4 ways to do the 40,
It's
40,
in the
44 method. All right. There's 4 ways to do it. And we're going to break down the 4 ways to do the 40, 44 method. And we're going to break it down. We're excited, and we're going to share exactly how to do it. It's kind of funny, but it's absolutely true. And that's the way we did it. So let's kind of break down the 4 different methods to do it, right? So let's talk about the first one. We saw that check from Fernando. It's like, what the heck? And I actually posted that check on my Instagram. I kid you not, I had 100 DMs last night.
Yeah.
What the heck is reverse drawing for dollars? Now, I have 170,000 followers on Instagram, and I kind of got beef with them because we only have 62,000 subscribers. And I'm like, that's 110,000 people that don't subscribe to the YouTube channel, which makes no sense to me.
Yeah.
But whatever, I digress for another day. So that's why I get hundreds of people that don't follow me on subscribe on YouTube. And they're like, what the heck is reverse drawing for dollars? And I'm like, how don't you know? This is a crazy, like fire your guru. Reverse drawing for dollars is a method we're going to talk about. That's going to be method 1. And everyone rolls their eyes when I say it, but heck, if y'all keep sending me checks and y'all keep doing deals from reverse drawing for dollars, I'm going to keep talking about it. And hey, I don't care. So what's method 1? Method 1 is pretty simple, but this is going to be doing 2,000, and this is for a month. Okay. This is a month.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Pulling 2,000 drawing for dollars leads and putting 2,000 sticky notes on here. It ain't for the faint of heart. I'm telling you, it ain't for the faint of heart, but making 40,000 is something in the 1% of Americans on income wise. So that's 480,000 a year. I think once you get over 384, 400, you're technically in the 1% of income earners in the United States of America. So if you want to become part of the 1% of income earners in the United States of America, you have to do you have to work harder than 99% of people in America. And a lot of people think you have to work more hours, and it's not about working more hours. It's about getting more done within your hours, because everybody knows there's guys at the gym that work out an hour a day and they don't get anything done in the gym. They talk around, they stay on their phone. Then there's one guy who's got his headphones and his hoodie on going crazy in the gym for an hour, and they're just more muscular. And there's diet, all that stuff, but like, it's more about what you get done in the hours of the day. So 2,000 drawing for dollars leads, that is hustling every moment when you're drawing for dollars and doing sticky notes, answering, doing all this stuff. But it is possible. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of dedication, but there's over 2,000 ugly houses if you're in a decent metro market, right? So if you're in Houston, Dallas, right? If you are in Cleveland, I can guarantee you there's probably 5x that. There's at least 10,000 of these houses you can do, like right now, and there's probably an extra 1,000 that's going to hop on next month, right? Reverse try for dollars, any type of government list you can do. Like we can go on and on forever, but really that, in my opinion, is going to be method number 1. But reverse try for dollars works. And if you don't know how to do it the right way, what to say, all the freewholesaling.com, it's got you covered, right? Now let's talk about method number 2. And this is another method where, we can go in this method. Like I can go talk about this method for, 40 hours, right? And really, I sort of look at it, right? So if you really got to look at the schedule, right, I would probably say 9 to 12. If you're really going to look at things, it's going to be the best time to drive for dollars, because the sun's kind of up. It's good. Between you and me, if people are working jobs, you're kind of out of the house during those times. And so you don't have to deal with people reverse drawing for dollars being at the house if that's something you don't want to deal with. That's probably going to be the best time, 3 hours. And then you kind of spend the other hours pulling lists, doing things like that. That's probably going to be the best schedule to be doing things. But overall, that's what I could tell you on a schedule there, right? Like, any thoughts on that?
You just got to do it. And some people, like, they're always like, what's the perfect time to do this, or cold call, or reverse driving for dollars? Like, again, the beginning is when you can do it is really the best time. And then when you have more luxury of time, then you can start picking it. The reason we give you the suggestions, what time to do it and stuff, it's just because we've spent a lot of time doing this and we know the ideal situation. But don't confuse ideal versus just being able to do it. So some of you guys are on a little bit stricter schedules. Maybe you have a job and you're trying to work out of it. So honestly, it's when you can do it is really the best time. And then as you leverage it and you move down the road and you got more freedom of time, then you can start looking at your data and picking the most opportunistic times to make it super effective.
Yeah, I can tell everybody watching this video that when I say 2,000, It's not, it'd be nice to do that, or I tried my best. It's 2000.
Oh.
Okay. It's like, it's like when you ask somebody, hey, did you run a marathon? Well, I kind of ran a marathon.
I've done that before.
I walked 26 miles over 4 years. It's like, you kind of look at it like, guys, either you did or you didn't.
It's
And
a yes or a no.
I hate to say that, but like, it is a yes or no. It is the reason why I made this method the way it was. And this is why I literally put a definitive number on it, is because if anyone hops on here and says, Zach, I did the 40, 40, 44 method and I didn't get any deals and you suck, you're the worst ever, and you don't know what you're talking about, I would love for somebody to tell me in the eye that they did 2000. I get this. People hop on. They will have the guts to go tell me that I'm stupid. I don't know what I'm talking about. I will ask them truthfully to your face, did you do 2000? They said, well, I did 1,000 and that's still good enough. Like, no one can ever hop on and tell me that they did this, this, and this, and this is why they didn't do it. And the truth is 2000 is the number. Go out here and do it. Right. I don't really meet anyone that does it. Right. Like, I remember talking to Fernando on it and he was struggling starting out. I'm like, just keep doing it. I think once he hit 1,000, two, 3 deals. Right. It's like, if you put 1,000, at least 1,000 out, you're going to get a deal. Like, if you reverse drive for dollars and drive for dollars, if you are in a market that's not the worst in the world, you're going to get a deal.
Zach, what if I do 200? Will that work?
See, that's the thing, right?
See,
like,
that's where you guys get in these catch-22. So 9 times out of 10, when we're doing the lives and the questions, are like, I made 500 cold calls, and I'm like, I'm getting nowhere. I'm like, dude, you're just warming up, and you've got to understand it. This is a quantity game. In the beginning, when you're starting out wholesaling, is you don't have the experience, which is fine, but you're going to make it up in enthusiasm and quantity. See, because the quantity will give you the practice, the experience. But without quantity, you're not going to get experience. You can't get the experience without going through the journey. And once you understand that, you'll understand why me and Zach are so adamant about getting these numbers up, because you don't have the experience. So you're going to make some mistakes. You're going to lose some decent deals, and you are going to learn from that journey. But most of all, you'll talk to more sellers. The more sellers you talk to, like, this ain't rocket science, guys. I already told you, wholesaling is not about the smartest person. It's about the most energetic, enthusiastic person that can push through these barriers to get to where they want to get.
I agree. So, and the next part is like, now, yes, it's going to take at least 40 hours to get this. And what I could say is, I always get comments, I always get asked this, and I do want to explain this. Zach, how can I do that by only working 2 hours in a month, right? Or 2 hours in a week, right? Like, everybody wants the magic pill. Everybody wants the thing. But you got to remember, if you want to become what it takes in life to become rich and successful and all these things, it's going to take work, right? If you look at the top income earners, they all pretty much work jobs. If you're making over 400K a year, you're working a job. You're working at least 40 hours a week. And the people that work less than 40 hours a week that make a bunch of money, either they grinded to get to that point, like you and me. Like, we're not working 40 hours a week, but we grinded to get to the point where we're at that, right?
I did a lot longer.
You were kind of, there's nothing wrong with it, right? Like, there's nothing inherently bad, but like, you were probably born into a rich family. And that means somebody in your family worked hard, and that's fine. But like, that's probably the reason why. If you're self-made and you did that, unless you were even an athlete, like they work 100-hour weeks because they're working out and things like that, you're going to have to work, right? And for 99% of the people at that income level, you're going to have to work hard, and you're not different, right? It's like, you want to get 6-pack abs, but you also want to eat burgers all day. It's like, it's going to be very difficult to do that, right? And there's a reason why having abs or being healthy is something that is an achievement or something great, and people look up to it, because it's hard to do. Making a lot of money, it's something a lot of people look up to. It's great. It doesn't make who you are as a human being, but you got to remember this too, that it's achievable. It's a status symbol. It's all these things because it's hard to achieve. If everybody could have a Rolls Royce, then nobody would look at it as cool, right? If you pull up to somebody's house in a Toyota Camry, a lot of people can afford one. It's not as cool. If you pull up in a Lamborghini, it's kind of harder to get that, right? That's why it's more impressive for most people. And so if you want to make a ton of money in wholesaling, you're going to have to do the thing that is impressive, but unfortunately, it's going to be very difficult to do that. And that's the key to success. And that's the way hard work is.
Yeah, it's there's just no replacement for it. And you guys are exposed to more stuff. Like whenever you see any type of marketing pitch or anything, and I can speak for the real estate investing industry because that's my focus and that's all I'm ever going to teach you on. But it is relatable to everything else. Anything that's super sold to you, it's like it's easy. It'll replace this, and you don't have to do it anymore. Guys, like whenever you get sold a shortcut, it's usually going to create a much longer journey, and it's going to cost you a lot more money, and it's definitely going to cost you time. And then it's going to add the hurt and the pain. And my part of my mission is to have you avoid it. And so if like just the old saying goes is choose your hard. Like life's not the easiest thing in the world, but choose your hard. So when we talk about we talk about wholesaling is, do you really think you can get a guru that's just going to give you everything, like make it super easy? You're going to be having abundant sellers. This method's going to kill wholesaling. It'll revolutionize what you do, and you don't have to go through that pain of wholesaling. Do you guys really buy into that? It doesn't work. Or you can just do the grassroots work, just like the method we're talking about today. Put in the time. And guys, 6 months to a year goes by super fast. And when you put in that time, you're going to yield the long-term results, and it's going to make you so fulfilled, so happy, but you have to put in the work. We are in a society where everything is short-term fit. Like, hey, the reality is your phones, which are now called smartphones, which makes us kind of stupid, is they're feeding off exactly what people are craving for: instant gratification. You are not going to get that in wholesaling. And if you do, you got lucky, and count it as a blessing, not as this is the way the business goes. So choose your heart. Just like when he talks about fitness and stuff like that. You can wait. You can either put the work in now and reap the benefits, or you can sit back, do whatever you want. But I promise you, you are going to pay for it in medical time. You're not going to be productive with your family. You just have to pick which one you want to do. Everything in life has a choice. The problem is you guys are sold shortcuts, and I'm just telling you, there is no replacement for hard work, and we want you to be successful. So
yeah, and the last part here is just pick your hard, right? Pick your difficult, pick your struggle. In wholesaling real estate, you're going to have to pick your struggle. Either you struggle finding a really good deal, making 20,000, 30,000, 40,000, or you struggle and have a really easy conversation with the motivated seller because you're offering an insanely high price, but now you have to struggle with selling the deal. Would you rather struggle lowballing a seller and being uncomfortable with that and making 40,000, or would you struggle going out here trying to sell the deal, right? I would rather struggle in the beginning. I like getting the hard work done in the beginning and then having the delayed gratification and making 30, 40 grand versus the struggle of trying to sell a deal because it was so easy to write that contract because you gave the seller everything they wanted and you're struggling with the cash buyer, and now you're upset and you have to get a reduction and now you're making only 10,000. Pick your struggle, right? The next part here is picking your struggle. Would you rather struggle in your financial life right now and never actually get to where you actually want to get? Or would you rather struggle getting into wholesaling and then you never have to struggle again? Here's the thing. There's two struggles in life if you're getting into wholesaling real estate. It is a financial struggle and there is a time struggle, right? And if you're starting out, you got to pick which one you want to do. And for a lot of people, they'll quit wholesaling and then they'll struggle with working a 9-to-5 job the rest of their life. And they will struggle just that regular monotonous grind of working and working and working. And I chose a different struggle. I said, that's a struggle that I hate more than anything. I'm going to go struggle in wholesaling. I'm actually going to go work more hours. I'm going to start working 70, 80, 90, even 100 hours a week in wholesaling real estate and struggle with my time and just work all day, work all day, work all day. And then eventually, about after, I think a couple years, once I started hitting about I think $500,000 a year in wholesaling real estate, I didn't have to struggle anymore because I had a team and I scaled up to millions of dollars. I picked my struggle and I decided to struggle in the beginning and not struggle the rest of my life in a job. And really, if you want to get motivated to get into wholesaling, it's going to suck. It's going to be a struggle, but struggle now so you never have to struggle when you're older.
Yeah, listen, a 9 to 5, the guys, I did that. Mine wasn't a 9 to 5. Mine was 7 to 7. And I did it for almost 12 years. And I can tell you, it was an easy fix at the time because that's all I was taught. Like, love my parents to death, but I didn't get a lot of tools, as a lot of you can relate on this. So I tried the college thing. I tried everything. And after 12 years, it didn't work out. I gave up a lot of time. And then I said, you know what? I got so worked up and so frustrated that I go, it couldn't be any worse than what I have now. I can always go back to this. So what we want to do is teach you in wholesaling is you don't have to wait till like that. Mine was monumental. It just built up. And if you guys have a job, you know, I hated my boss. I just didn't like where I worked. I made decent money. I paid my bills. That's all my job gave me. So they did a study, said 70% of the people do not like what they do for a living or the person they work for. So you can either make a choice in the beginning if you have that opportunity. Great. I didn't have that choice, man. I had to like figure it out quick and fast. And so failure wasn't really an option to me because I felt I failed so much. Guys, I didn't wake up till I was 34. Thank God, like he figured out. But so those of you like raising kids, understanding kids watch what you do much more than what you say. And that was one of the great successes I was at. He's just like, you're always around. You go to my wrestling, you go to my like school events. And that was the luxury because I was frustrated when I did it with my father. But I got to tell you, when he was young, I spent a lot of time working and it was stressful. So I want to give you guys options and understanding. We have two diverse different backgrounds. I had to like go through the struggle, but he went through the struggle. He just did it in fast forward and figured it out earlier than I did.
Not as fun though. Like I'll tell you this. Yeah, I got it done a lot quicker, but I had to work a lot harder, right? And I basically got to do 5 years of work in 1 year. And it's not a fun thing to do when you wake up and you wake up tired and you go to bed tired and you did a lot, right? But I was able to go put my head on the pillow every single night when I was grinding like crazy and wholesaling with cold calling everything, knowing I did absolutely everything in my power to live my dream and not work that job anymore and actually provide for my family and myself. When I can go to bed at night knowing that I literally put everything I did into that day, there's no sleepless nights because I did everything I possibly can. That's all you really can do, right? Yeah. And so let's talk about method number 2. We're jacking people up. I want to get people excited because
wake up.
The reason why we want to explain that really quick was, I mean, not really quick, but like a lot of people scoff like, oh, 2,000, that's too much. It's like,
guys, I would do more if I were you, but I'm giving you the bare minimum to even do the successes we talk about.
And so I get so many people trying to get into wholesaling. And one really interesting thing, and they always complain about how much work it is. And they all want the money and everything like that. I always have to ask them one simple question. Pay the price now so you never have to look at the price of things. And what I mean by that is if you want to not... So here's another really good quote I learned for that, right? If you never want to look at the price on things, on a menu, the cost of a car or anything like that, if you want to be able to never look at the price of something, you have to never look at the time on the clock. And what that means is you never have to struggle financially if you are willing to get the work done and not look at a time clock or anything like that. You have to just constantly go out here and grind. And once you get over that grind phase, start doing deals, a lot of stuff starts changing, right? So
I still look at the price for the record.
Oh my gosh. Let's go to number 2 here. What's method number 2? Method number 2 here is 5,000 government leads. And everyone's like, what the heck's a government list? What's a government lead? And your gurus actually know what this is, but they can't tell you about it because we actually have said this term before anybody else because you've been using this term for decades.
Yeah.
And the gurus actually can't patent it. They're like, shoot, what are we going to do here? And so they pretend like government leads don't exist because then that ruins their whole course mentality. So I always implore everybody to talk about government lists on a guru stream, but then I remember I'm like, don't even watch the gurus. They're so broke. It's sad. But a government list, right? These are going to be your code violations, your water shutoffs, your fire damage properties, your tax liens, any other liens, delinquencies, pre-foreclosures, really probates, any list you can, the arrest record list. I go on forever on this, but like it's really any list you can actually pull from your government. And there's a ton of them. And if you go to freewholesaling.com, we break down how to do this, like all these things, but really 5,000 of them. You can cold call them, reverse drive files, whatever you want. Most likely it's going to be cold calling. If you want to do it, you can do SMS text blasting instead. If you don't do any cold calling, add some drawing for dollars, add some probate mailers. You put 40 hours in that, you can easily get 3 to 4 deals. Depends how well you do on it, but like probate should have very good on it. So that's what I'm thinking like that. So yeah. I also think too, one thing too is if you're pulling 5,000 government lists, it's not for the faint of heart. Most people are not going to give you the list too. And I want people to understand that you're most likely not going to get that government list. And what I mean by that is if you go on and try to pull a code violation list, you're going to get some resistance, right? Like you're not going to be able to, they're probably not even going to be able to give you the list because they're like, oh, we don't even have that list. And a lot of you guys will go on my comments on all my social media and say, I'm giving up. The lady said no to give me code violations, so I can't do it anymore. This list is terrible because I asked once and I never got it. It's just, it annoys me because that's where 90% of wholesalers fail. They go up to the clerk of the court and they ask for they go to the code enforcement and they ask, can I get a code violation list? And they're like, no. And then they say, well, tried my best. We did our best here. And it's just kind of funny because the person that actually wants to survive, like they actually want to provide for the family, they actually need to get a deal. Not someone that wants to get a deal, but the person that needs to get a deal. They'll come up the next day and say, hey, I need a list of all open code violations. Say, no. Okay. Can I talk to my manager? Okay. Come up the next day. Hey, I need the code violation. No, like it's public information. They go the next day. They keep going. They file FOIA acts. They do. That's the person that constantly gets it going. And then the lady's like, all right, this is so annoying. Here's the list. I'm so sick of this person.
So overcome resistance with persistence. I tell you over and over. I'm not telling it because I'm lecturing it to you. That's what we do in our business. That's what I started doing back in 2003. And it still works today. Did you know the average person, if you overcome their objection at least twice, you are much more likely to get an outcome to your favor? But the reality of most human beings, you get one no and like, okay, have a nice day. You can't do that. So if you're going to be a wholesaler, you got to get over that now. So part of our training and everything we train you is how to overcome resistance. It's simply persistence. It's not, you don't beat them with a stick. You actually be super kind to them and you keep coming back to them. We teach you all these techniques at freewholesaling.com. It's simplistic. Most of the people teaching this business, they overlook, they just go, what do they say? Go out and get some lists. Yeah. And they're mostly like paid lists because they don't know how to deal with stuff like this. All lists derive from some sort of government list. End of story. The level of effort you want to do with it, but there is no replacement for you guys getting these lists. Overcome their objections twice in a confident manner. Overcome the resistance with the persistence, and you'll get traction in this area.
Yeah, I'm telling you, that's the way to do it. And then adding on the probate mailers, we have a free template at freewholesaling.com. Actually, I had to pull the mailers out. Highly, highly recommend it. Probate mailers, absolutely amazing. I think everybody should be doing probate mailers if you can do it.
And they're simple. They're simple.
Yeah.
It's not a ton of leads, just the probates, but they're slow, they're methodical, but man, are they profitable. And for those of you like definitely busy in a job, if I could have made my first 10 years of my business alone just doing probates, because it was like 100 leads a month, very simple. You can even do a handwritten letter if you want to do, but we give you everything you need at freewholesaling.com. I would do it that way. And that's it. And then people call you at their convenience and you go about your life. Remember, that's just one technique. The problem why people they scorn it is it's not super fast. I don't get a deal overnight and it must not work. No. You might have to wait a few months. You might only get 2 or 3 leads, but man, when you get it, vacant house, run down, needs repairs, you can bring as many buyers through you want, and then you can close at your convenience. Guys, they are golden, but there's not thousands of them, and you just work through it. And the people that win in probates are the ones who do it the most consistent. So you might go a few months not getting a deal. Actually, that's most likely. That's how we survive doing it. And we just figured out the person, because most people do probates, they quit within the first 30 days. 95% of people, done. Just keep it going, man. What's the saying? The the tortoise and the hare. It's
Tortoise in the hare.
yeah. You got to be that tortoise. Just keep on going. I don't care how fast you go. Just keep on going, because you're going to get more traction by being consistent than the person. So you might send out like 2,000 leads in a year. That would be a lot for a probate. It's not really expensive. It's like less than $50 a month for like the materials needed. But you keep probing away. Whereas the hare is going to go, I'm going to bang out 500. I'm going to go back 6 months, which doesn't work at all. And then I'm going to go chase other counties. And then after 30, he goes, hey, Rick, it doesn't work. You're not working it correctly. So, you know.
And what I could tell you is if you ever want to watch a movie that's about persistence, and this is a great one. It's,
Vision Quest?
No. Damn. No. It's The Founder, the McDonald's movie.
That was a great movie. That really was.
That guy was so persistent. Now, you're not getting what he did to the McDonald's brothers, but like he was extremely persistent, and he never stopped what he tried to do.
It was good.
He was persistence. And if you look at the end of the movie, he talks about how he became successful. And obviously it was Michael Keaton doing it, but like it's all about persistence. And that's how he became Ray Kroc, a multi-billionaire, make McDonald's what it was because of persistence. And with that, it was absolutely amazing movie. But like, we're not talking about sales tactics, but like I can tell you is persistence wins. And because you pulled up the probate, you couldn't get the list and you gave up, somebody that wanted it more in your market was able to get it because they kept persistence with it. And they were able to get the deal because they wanted it more. The person that wants it more will always win. And if you're questioning yourself, like you want to give up after the first try, you probably don't want it enough. And maybe, and I say this all the time, maybe you just have to quit, struggle in your life with a 9-to-5 job and be at the point where you need to get a deal. And then maybe your mindset will change. I don't want that to happen to you, but really you have to be able to do whatever it takes to get that deal. And it's super important, right? Number 3, this is what I call the tax blitz. And you just think of taxes, right? What was the inevitability of life? Death and taxes, right? And death will be probates, and then taxes is taxes, right? And so let's talk about so we were talking about what happens. You pass away. We can deal with the probates there for marketing. But what about taxes, right? And taxes is a huge motivator for someone to get rid of a property. And so if you can do a tax blitz, you think of any type of motivation that's to do with tax, you do it, right? So what is this? This is going to be your tax liens, your tax delinquency. So people that haven't been paying their taxes at all, the property taxes, tax liens, people that are really not paying it, and they actually might get an auction on themselves. Then you got the state income tax, and then you got the IRS federal taxes, and you can actually pull these lists on.
We are just taxed too much.
I mean, there's a lot of tax.
That's my statement.
It's ridiculous, but
I gotta have a tax on the license just to.
But you make a lot of money, so you.
No, I'm just talking about like regular stuff too. It's crazy.
That's great. Okay, so we'll make you president.
I get distracted easily.
But no, so people not paying their state income tax, right? The IRS. We got who's that real estate investor that got hit? The Chrisley people.
Oh,
they went to. They're going to jail for like 13 years for not paying the Georgia revenue.
But it was more than.
It was like fraud and all.
It was tax evasion with a huge layer of fraud, and
it's like if
it crumbled. Another TV show crumbles because
a real
it's
estate
fake.
Investor didn't want to pay their taxes. And guys, I just want everybody to understand this. I am not the biggest fan of paying taxes, but the problem is if you don't if you don't pay your taxes, they will literally lock you up in jail. So I pay every dime I need to. I pay a ton of money in taxes, and I do it because my accountant tells me what to do, and I do it. But yeah, there's a lot of people actually still that can't afford it, right? And so usually what happens is I actually see this a lot from ex-employees where we pay our employees really well. Like we pay them very well. We have a lot of people in our acquisitions that make over 100K a year. And a lot of these people sometimes get too big for their britches. And they're like, you know what? I'm leaving. I'm going to do wholesaling myself. And it's kind of funny because we pay them maybe 100K in like October, and they leave and they try wholesaling. They fail. They broke. They actually lose all their money. Guess what happens during tax time? I send them a nice, beautiful 1099. And it's a 1099 for like 120K that we paid out in commissions or whatever. And they're like, and guess what happens to 1099? I have to report that to the IRS that I paid this person that money. And whatever it is, let's say 20% of that, right? That's like what? 25K in taxes, let's say. That person is like, oh, shoot.
You mean I got to pay
I had to pay
taxes?
25K in taxes on this? They're like, uh-oh. I had an LLC. I didn't know. And then guess what? They burned all their money trying to be a wholesaler, and then they don't know marketing. They only knew acquisitions. And this is a true story that happened, I think, a couple of years ago with us. Guess what happens? They couldn't afford it. They literally couldn't afford their taxes. They're like, I didn't know I had 30K. I just spent it all.
Yeah.
This is a person that every income, they made a lot of money with us, but every time they got like a $4,000 check, they would go to like some Caribbean island or whatever for a vacation, take their girlfriend out, do all this crazy stuff, buy cars, all this stuff. And they just spent every dime they had. And that's a trap a lot of Americans have. The funniest part, and then they go back and they ask for money from us and all that. Oh, I'll come back. I'll make all this money with you. Like, but you think of like, that's a personal story for like people that you have ex-employees. There's a lot of people, and I'm telling you, a lot of people in wholesaling real estate with your motivated sellers that they'll make some money. They'll get an inheritance or something like that, and they'll spend it all. And then the IRS is like, give us some money.
And it's not overnight. This catches up. They come back like almost like 10 years later. So the IRS
crazy.
is, by the way, they're always like 3 years behind. So a lot of people think they get away with it. And then they wind up on these lists. And these are the lists we're talking about targeting. And that's why they're so prolific, because when you get on this list, it's not a problem until they contact you. And then if you do not settle up with them, if you've ever been in that situation, it's brutal. So I've had basic misunderstandings just for, simple filings and stuff like that. The amount of energy and time it takes to correct this stuff, even if you're on the up and up, but the people trying to deceive, eventually they come after you, and then they have the power to do whatever they want with you. That's why the motivation can get pretty high on these, but they do take some time. And it starts simply with property taxes to state income tax to federal tax, and it just adds up. And sooner or later, they will come and get you.
Yeah.
And so I want you guys to stay off the list, but I understand when people are on that list, they truly need help and they get highly motivated quickly.
Yeah. So two things really quick. The IRS will actually figure out how much money you put into your bank account.
They do.
And
it's crazy, isn't it?
They actually do. And they go, oh, it's only payments over. No, they'll figure it out pretty quick. And they'll like, okay, so it looks like John Smith here, he put 120K in his bank account. So we're guessing he's going to owe at least this. Let's see his deductions and figure it out. And if you say you only made 30K, they're going to send you a letter wanting more details. The IRS don't mess with them, okay? But what that means is the IRS is actually pretty good at what they do, right? Like, obviously, it's a government agency. Sometimes they're not the most efficient, but that means for that motivated seller that might have made 80K but spent it all, or go through a divorce or something really expensive like that, or a lawyer or anything like that. Oh, shoot, I got to pay 40K in taxes over the past 4 years, and I don't have that money right now.
Yeah.
But I have this ugly, stinking house right now. Maybe it's a good deal, right? Like, the reason why I tell you go after the IRS tax list and the state income tax list is because I think my first 3 years in wholesaling, I never went after this list. But guess what I did? I remember one night I was just watching football and the Dolphins are getting crushed. This was a couple years ago. 3 years ago. Yeah. This was Brock Osweiler times. Not good.
You're talking about the last 20 years,
yeah,
right?
Yeah. So I was going through all the deals I've ever done, and I looked up every seller on public records. And I found a lot of them actually was behind on IRS tax payments, right? The Internal Revenue Department had liens, and the Internal Revenue Department actually had filings against a lot of these sellers. Not most of them, but a good amount. I was like, dang, if I just went after that list, which is pretty small compared to like a regular other list, if I cross-reference that, and that blew up our business too. And that's why I tell everybody, it's like, give me data, because I need to know everyone's data. Because once you look at everybody's data, you can really figure out and reverse engineer what you're doing from there. It's an amazing list. And on top of that too, because it's not the biggest list in the world, right? If you're in a smaller market, I would add the tired landlords list, because I call it quote unquote tax time. And during tax time, this is when I get a lot of sellers wanting to sell. So in Port St. Lucie, where we're at, taxes are due end of November-ish, right? And so beginning of November, end of November, we should get wired out. We just paid it. So I'm guessing end of
November 30th.
Yeah. So the end of November, we just paid a bunch of taxes for our rentals that we have here.
Painful.
You complain so hard on it, but I'm like, whatever, just wire it out. A lot of these landlords are like, oh my God, I got a $3,000 tax bill. I just want to get rid of this thing. Like I can't even afford the $3,000 in taxes.
What happens is you get a discount by paying it November 30th, and then they usually add a percentage on each additional month.
Yeah.
And then usually after 4 or 5 months, they're like, okay, dude, like we got issues. And then they give you a final notice, and then it basically goes to a tax certificate sale, and then they auction those things off. And then you owe somebody in arrears with interest. And then they basically, depending on what state you are, the state of Florida is 2 years. And then they have the ability to file for foreclosure. A lot of people just assume that goes, well, that means I'm going to get the property for cheap. No, it goes to a regular foreclosure auction. Your little tax certificate gets paid off. And then anything over and above, it just gets bidded up to the highest bidder. So it's like, so the only way you're successful in that strategy if nobody bids. And the only property nobody bids are the ones that nobody wants. And they're usually vacant land you can't even build on anymore.
Yeah. So tax time, it's a great time to actually contact these sellers that want to sell the property. So that's a really good list. And then the next one is, I call it the easy method, right? I try to put some fun names on these for you guys. I don't know why, but I call it the easy method. I get a lot of people say, Zach, I just don't want to do all this work, or I don't want to skip trades, right? I just hear excuses all the time. So I'm like, all right, I'm just going to make an easy method. Let's add a really easy marketing strategy that people do because they don't want to do a lot of harder work for pulling lists.
Easy peasy.
And let's add in probates because it's a little harder to pull that list, but it's not a lot of calling. So if you complain about cold calling a lot, add this on, or you should SMS text blast if you really want, but just pull the Zillow for sale by owners and then do the probates. And if you do both of them, I think you should be fine. But guys, that is really my 40-40-44 method, ours.
It's a mouthful.
It's a lot. You know, I would probably charge $4,000 if I was a guru on this. So you just save $4,000 learning how to get $40,000 in under 40 days. So that's our method. We're sticking to it. And if you have any questions, if you want to learn exactly how to do it, remember, just go to freewholesaling.com or free real estate wholesaling course, and we'll hook you up. We'll hook you up, teach you wholesaling for free, and we'll get it going. So let's answer some questions. Let's see how I can help the people out. One quick announcement I want to make everybody. For Instagram and Facebook, there's only 2 official Instagrams from us. There is Flip with Rick and there's Flip with Zach. My handle is called Flip with Zach. I thought it was funny because you're Flip with Rick. Let's call it Flip with Zach for me. If you get a DM, a message from somebody that's Flip with 2 P's with Zach, or Flip with the I is an L, or Flip with Zach with 2 Z's, or Flip with Rick with 2 R's, or like, just look at the Instagram handle. And if it's not exactly Flip with Zach, maybe the I is an L or lowercase, it's something stupid. Look at them and just look really quick if it's me or not. All right. Most of the time, if you're getting a DM from any of these accounts with my face on it, there is a 99% chance, unless you were posted a deal recently, that I DM'd you. I don't DM people. I don't have enough time.
He doesn't even DM me.
I don't even DM you. Okay. Yeah. And so I'll call you. All right. I don't DM people. All right. I don't slime the DMs. I don't really do any of that. Okay.
Slide the DM.
I don't. So if you got a message from me, I've probably gotten 5 today. These accounts are getting they're getting worse. Okay. There's probably 5 being created every single day.
There's no way to stop it. Either.
There's no way to stop it. I can't stop it. And one thing I want everybody to understand is they block me. So I can't even search them and report them. They block me on purpose, so I'm not even able to see them. And what they do is they'll follow all the people that follow me on Instagram and then start DMing you. And what they'll do is they'll ask for cryptocurrencies. They'll ask if you're into day trading. And then you guys reply back like you're having a great, oh my gosh, Zach's talking to me, but why is he talking about day trading? That's okay. Yeah. Guys,
we only talk about real estate here.
Yeah.
This is the reason why we've never done all those things he just talked about. We never talk about them. So you're never going to get confused. And the easiest way to understand it, since we are the only people out there on the World Wide Web in wholesaling space, real estate investing, wholesaling, that don't ever ask you for any type of money ever, it's a simple fix.
Yeah. So if
you know it's
yeah.
fake if we ask you for anything because we don't do it. Period.
I've had people say, Zach, I'm about to wire you the money. I'm like, what are you talking? I saw that on the comment. I'm like, what do you mean you're going to wire me money?
Yeah.
And then I looked the guy up on message. I'm like, don't wire me. He's like, oh, I was about to wire you $2,000 because he asked for it. I'm like, how? I'm not calling you guys stupid for that, but I'm like, come on, like, guys, use some common sense. If I ask you for $2,000 to wire me, please don't do it.
Honestly,
please.
I wouldn't send anyone a lick of anything on a DM.
Okay.
Unless you can talk to them on the phone.
Yeah.
It's probably fake. So like a lot of us are so used to like these stupid smartphones and people are going to take advantage of us. So you're going to have to go back to some old school. Like I don't trust like to the point, like, when you get authentic emails from me and Zach, but like when I get an email from a complete stranger, I don't even open them like we don't even look at them. Like my emails are so deep. I just have somebody sort them out for me because we have to sort through 98% of the crap that comes through it. And it's just exhausting. So it's no shock that they're approaching DMs and PMs. What others? DMs, PMs, emails. I've seen text even.
So here's the
all
thing.
Sorts of stuff.
On Instagram, if you look at your Flip with Rick, Flip with Zach combined, so I have 170,000 followers on Instagram, which I think is too much, but only about 10,000 people at most are going to watch this little message I'm saying on here. And the people who are watching this on the lives are actually an hour deep in the lives. They're the most dedicated people, right?
I agree. So we want to
and
save
so
them the most.
For only the dedicated people are going to know about this. If you're kind of a closet and you want to send $3,000 to a guy from somewhere, who knows where, go do it. But what I can tell you is don't do it. Like I don't ask for money and I'll never ask for money. I tell you not to even buy any courses, right? And so just don't do it. I see it all the time. It's so annoying. Just don't do it. Okay. Like I'll never ask for money. I'll never DM you. And just, it's so ridiculous. And I'm not going to get into it. It drives me insane. So guys, don't be doing it. Okay.
Enough said.
And then if someone DMs you and you think it's me and you're completely sure, I get DMs, Zach, I'm about to wire you money. And I'm like, that person has 2 P's in the Flip with Rick. What are you talking about? Just read it, look at it. And then if you really think it's going to be me, if you really think Zach is DMing me out of the blue, and I don't know who Jose Garcia is, but I'm just DMing you out of the blue because I want to be your personal friend because you're just ask me 3 simple questions. And I know probably the scammers are watching me right now trying to figure me out.
Oh, yeah.
Ask me simple questions like, hey, Zach, who's the greatest quarterback of all time? Zach, what do you think of gurus? Zach, do you think buying courses is a good thing? Like stupid, simple stuff. Like probably,
they're doing this on a mass scale, so there's no way they're going to keep up.
Yeah, it drives me crazy. But like, just ask me super stupid, simple questions, right? Like something crazy, like Zach, who is the best defensive lineman on the Dolphins? Like something like I'm probably only going to know.
Sometimes
somebody. Wait, what do you say?
That's questionable.
No, Wilkins is the best one, but
okay.
I just revealed it to the spam. Like, ask me like a question you think only I would know.
That's to write down the answer keys right now.
Yeah, so don't do that one, but like ask me really specific questions, right? Of like TV shows I like or like something like that. Okay, just do that, and I think we'll be good. But I hate to break it to you, I ain't sliding your DMs to talk to y'all. I'm just sorry to say. But like usually I'm out playing pickup basketball or hanging out with friends or doing something. Okay, like I'm not DMing people. Okay, and it's gotten crazy. So yeah, let's answer some questions. Let's see what happens, and let's break it down. Let's see here. Michelle says none of these gurus are legitimate, and they're doing these events together. Sickening how they play with people, their own greed, trying to sell courses. 1,010. Yeah, it drives me crazy. The only issue I've had about gurus, and really, I don't think I inherently have an ethical problem with selling a $4,000 course. I don't really. But the one thing I will tell you is I have a problem when they start getting you emotional. And what I mean by this, if somebody out here and says, hey, I'm going to charge you $1,000 to learn wholesaling real estate. Here's a course. I don't agree with it, but I don't think it's this crazy, unmoral, unethical thing. I don't really think so. But when you hide the price, You have to hop on a discovery call. And the point of the discovery call is to get you emotionally fired up, like emotionally worked up about how you can change your life only if you give me $4,000 right now, right now, right now, right now. And they do this crazy sales pitch. That's when I have and it's your last money and you have a family.
And they spend a ton of time and a ton of energy training these salespeople, and they do it just like an acquisition manager. They just pound them into it. So they take the skills of wholesaling and just flip it on you guys. And listen, that's one part of the discovery call. And by the way, the reason they do this, because they showed studies and they looked at data. They go, if you hide the price, it creates the curiosity. And people have to call. And then if you make it feel like they qualify for it, do you know what qualifies you for most courses?
Money.
A credit card. That's it. That's the qualification. Don't be fooled like, we're going to see if you are a good fit. If you got the money, you're a good fit. They're into revenue. And I don't completely fault people. I just don't like the process. So if Tony Robbins, the greatest coach on planet Earth, you can go on his website and find out what every program costs, all the way up to, I think he has one at $1 million. Why can't we do it in wholesaling? Like, who cares? Like, honestly, if you have a really good content and your value is explosive, then let's just put it out there. You're going to get it. And then your reputation will take care of the rest. But the problem is when we have to hide. Wholesaling, I think, is the worst industry for this. And I don't know why.
Because it's the only industry you go with no money, make a ton of money. But I've said it a million times.
It's crazy. Like,
it's
like, just disclose the product. Like, what? The reason why is because most of you, if you heard the course was $5 or $10 grand, you probably would never engage them. And that's the truth of the matter, because most of them are like grossly overpriced. So
I agree. So be careful, guys. I agree with that statement. April says, what is the justification for a non-refundable deposit from the end buyer? Because if I'm going with you, I'm shutting out all my other options.
Yeah, it's like you've closed the deal down. Remember, your obligation is you're committed to the seller to get their house sold. You can't be fishing around. Like, so if somebody commits, go, hey, I want that property, you've got to make sure their commitment's real. The only way to keep people completely committed is make them financially vested. That way, if they back out, there is pain. And the other advantage of it is you don't have to babysit them. So if you guys have ever been involved in real estate, statistically, if you don't have some sort of like non-refundable threat or deposit, whatever, it's 50-50 if they're even going to show up to the closing. And you're going to spend endless hours chasing them. Hey, you're going to show up tomorrow? Well, I got something going on. Maybe, hey, you know what? Can we renegotiate that deal? I don't like it. No. You already have a $5,000 non-refundable deposit. Like, you're in. If you don't want it, then that's fine. You lose your deposit. I'll move on. That's it. You have to let them know. This isn't like, you don't want to be an option. So you don't want to be the backup date to the prom. You need to be like the queen and the princess. And don't ever let anyone make you secondary. And that goes for life in general. If you're not the king or the queen, get out. It's not worth it. You don't want to be anybody's backup. The same thing in wholesaling.
And the thing is, you're most likely asking this because a cash buyer says, why is it going to be non-refundable? No way. Give me a justify that to me. Because next, that's it. Like, hey.
And guess what? That cash buyer is going to screw you anyway. So you just saved yourself the pain.
They're looking to screw you. And most likely it was a wholesaler trying to daisy chain you. And they're trying to get you out of it. And they're trying to make you, honestly, they're hopped off for a second.
Okay.
Yeah, they're gaslighting you to believe that, hey, oh my gosh, that what I'm doing is wrong. It's not wrong. Trust me, you're fine. Trust me, guys. It's most likely somebody trying to flip you off. Now, the gurus try to hop us off the stream. They try to hack us. I'm telling you, the gurus can try to hack us, but we have our own hackers in the back end trying to help us out. So don't worry about that. But April, do not stop on it. It's non-refundable. That's the way it happens. Next question here. So Raymond has a question. I'm not going to answer it, but I'm going to answer it in a different way. Raymond, so I'll tell you this. If I don't mention a software, it's because guys, I'll tell you this, and you can back me up, and you've done this too.
Yeah.
Don't you agree? We have seen pretty much every single type of wholesaling software.
Everyone, hands down.
Inside and out. We actually know 99% of the owners. The ones I don't even speak about, I actually know the owners, talk to them, all this stuff. I vetted every single, and I still vet every new software out here. I'll spend thousands of dollars because maybe it's the newest, greatest thing that'll change my business. I do it. Here's the thing. I get asked, what about this software? But if I don't mention it, if it doesn't come out of my mouth, it's because I don't believe in it. And I'm not going to mention names, be mean or anything, because I'm not here to do that. But if I don't mention it, there's a reason why I'm not going to talk about it. So some people ask, what do you guys think about this software? There's a reason why I didn't mention it. And that's all I can say from there, right? It's not because it's got thousands of users and that I'm the only person in the world that doesn't know about it. I know about it. Okay. I don't believe in it. And I have seen people that don't really do deals off of it. So
if we think it's a good fit, we're going to introduce it to you.
Even if we haven't gotten deal, like even if we have so for example, I was talking about Roar and Smarter Contact. I don't promote it, but I say, hey, I actually know guys that use it and they do deals from it. If there's no software I talk about and people haven't done deals from it, I won't do it. Like I'll even mention Property Radar. I don't think it's the best one, but I know people that do deals from it.
Yeah, but a CRM, it stands for Customer Relations Manager Management.
Lists and stuff,
yeah, but it's so sometimes you got to understand a CRM. They're getting confused with like data sources now. So a simple CRM is like Podio, which what we recommend you guys. It's mostly free. It's very inexpensive. If you even want to upgrade, it's like $12.
Yeah.
And you can run you just manage all your follow-ups, everything through that. The problem with a lot of these data companies is they're trying to merge everything together. And it's just like,
they just want your money.
So we try to find the biggest, baddest ones that we know has got good customer support, realistic pricing, and they're not going to just pound you with upgrade after upgrade. And you got to make sure they're going to be in business because dude, you're talking about a guy who I ran off ListSource forever to pull my data. And like one day I'm like, this is crazy. Then I had alternatives. And let me tell you, I went through 4 years of literally tried every one of them. But the problem is it kept being upgrade after upgrade. And this will do this. And everything was completely automated. I'm like, at the end, I go, I don't need all this stuff. I just need the data and I need a simple CRM. That's why we simplified our operations and we teach you guys the basics on it. So a CRM, guys, I ran this off of like a yellow pad and a Google sheet for a long time. And I made tons of money doing it that way. To understand a CRM, a true CRM, which you hold all the data for your customers, it's going to help you be more efficient and it's going to help you scale your business, but it's not going to wholesale houses for you.
Yeah. So just guys understand that. And then let's answer some other questions real quick. There's some one-on-ones after too. Gem Z says so they want to know what's my top 5 markets I recommend currently. Well, I actually did a video on that, so I can kind of break them down really simple. So my top 5 wholesaling real estate markets, I'll tell you, is number 5 here is Dayton, Ohio. It's in the Midwest. It's an up and coming market. Real estate's cheap. Population is good. That's something I love. Number 4 is going to be Detroit, Michigan. I absolutely love Detroit, Michigan. Kind of the whole Wayne County area. Amazing. Over 600,000 people in Detroit. Really cheap property. You get them locked up for 20, 30, 40 grand. Number 3 here's Macon, Georgia, right? Very cheap, very effective, and really good properties with a lot of motivated sellers and a lot of cash buyers. Number 2, a little more expensive, but you make a ton of money. Virginia. So I would say Virginia Beach, Hampton Roads area, add Richmond on top of that. Amazing market. My top favorite one is Fayetteville, North Carolina. I love Fayetteville, North Carolina. Still one of my favorite ones. It's Coal World. J. Cole's from there. And it's got a military base, so it's amazing, guys. If you really want to look at a good wholesaling market, if it has a big military base, it's going to be pretty good. And you look at a lot of these markets, they have one. So that is my top 5 wholesaling real estate markets for 2023. Tristan, he's listening to what we're saying. He knows what we're talking about. So Tristan says, learn the ropes before you hire a VA, get $100K for it. Yeah, I always say that, right? Make $100,000 before you get a VA.
You can't train people unless you know the process and what you're doing. And you got to go through the journey. Some people, like some coaches and stuff, will teach you, hire a VA to do everything you don't want to do. Well, you haven't done anything. Like, how are you going to train them? How are you going to manage them? How are you going to pull up the KPIs? you got to kind of walk through the journey. Like it's no different than any other business. And you got to like fight through the journey. And then when you get so overwhelmed and you can't manage your leads but you're making plenty of money, then you can start considering doing stuff. But like right off the bat, $0, really bad move in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. So next here is David says, can you pull a list from PropStream on the water shutoff utility? Yes. So you can actually pull the water shutoff list on PropStream. Now, quick hack here. All you really got to do is go to the liens section in PropStream. And then from there, you go to the liens and then you go to the utility liens. Now, it's not exactly the water shutoff list because the water shutoff list is usually done after a month or two of non-payment. But the utility lien is when somebody doesn't pay the water for about 6 to 12 months. So it's not as perfect, but it's the best hack to get the water shutoff list for basically free because you go to listrei.com, try PropStream for free. It's quick, easy, and efficient. It's an amazing one to be doing on here. So next one here, we got
store.
Ibrahim.
Yeah, what's up?
How are you?
I'm good. How are you? You can hear me?
Yeah, loud and clear. What's up? How can we help you out today?
Oh yeah, man. I got I've just been watching you for like 1 week now, probably.
Okay.
And I've been writing down a ton of questions. I'm halfway through your course already, so most of them have been like answered just watching the course slowly and surely.
Awesome, man.
But let me pull this up.
Pull it up.
All right. So let me see. So on the course, when you were talking about assignment contracts, right? You said like obviously that the assignment contract you have on there is not your personal one and some legal stuff. So I had a question. I had what are some things that I should edit on like my assignment contract?
What
that
state
I
are
should,
you
like,
in?
I'm in York, PA.
You where?
Pennsylvania.
York, Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
Yep.
Go to a title company and then ask them what does this contract work, and they'll
Yeah,
probably.
I've done that already.
And what do they say?
They said there is fine. I guess they just said it's fine.
And use it. It's
Yeah.
fine. Don't edit anything.
You really like honestly, you should. That thing's been through 20 plus years of testing.
Yeah.
Like I'm talking about like tested all the way to the top.
Yeah.
Court, everything. And I'm just saying,
Yep.
when you start the only reason you're going to alter it is to satisfy some sort of statute or something an underwriter needs or a lawyer for your title company. Do not take your personal filter and go, I want to change this word and that word. Like I'm not a lawyer. You're not a lawyer. I don't know if you're a lawyer, but he's not a lawyer. Like you don't want to go into that world because you don't know. And remember, the contract is just to enforce the agreement you have with your new cash buyer. That's it. Like guys, the purpose of contracts is to really put what you say verbally in writing. I'm going to tell you this. Here's the truth of the matter is your verbal agreement with your seller is really what they understand and what they remember. Like, because sometimes some of us aren't good at putting stuff in writing, and you have to do it in real estate or it's going to majorly blow up on you. But the reason for it, it actually puts teeth. It shows you're legitimate. And if someone tries to get squirrely on you, you just go back to the paperwork. So try not to overly alter it. Like, and by the way, I could go to 5 different lawyers and they're going to give me 5 different answers on everything because that's what lawyers do. They argue everything. Yeah. And so just be overly careful. But like I always start with the title company because they're the ones, they are the gatekeepers that process all the transactions and they'll let you know what flies and what doesn't fly. A lot of times attorneys, you can do some proactive measurements just to make sure you're in alignment. But 95% of Americans use attorneys for reactive stuff, meaning I got sued, what do I do? Or I'm being threatened by a seller or a buyer, what do I do? And after that, their hands are tied. They're like, okay, this is the best I can do. And 9 times I get 10 to say, what'd you say to them? And then what do you have in writing? And if they conflict, that's where all misunderstandings happen. So always have it in writing. Don't change it unless you're getting it from a highly credible source. And
Right.
that is not social media or anything
Yeah.
on the internet. You got, because guys, all real estate is local. It's always going to be local. If it hasn't been proven by now going into 2023, I'm telling you right now, all real estate's local. It's never going to change. It's just too particular.
So yeah, do that.
All right. Also, so my title company is near me, obviously, right? And PA is a big place. Like I was looking at just some lists of houses in like Scranton, which is like an hour away, which is also an hour away from the title company. If I get let's say hypothetically, I get a deal in Scranton, should I go find a title company in Scranton itself? Because then the seller will have to drive the whole way hour to here, and
I would
also
just
like
use yours. If you've done some deals, use your title company still. And if maybe, let's say you got a good deal under contract, then try to find one there. But I would probably still use your title company.
and it just even if that inconvenience the seller.
Well, would it inconvenience you if it's a random title company and you lose the deal? Would that be inconvenient?
Yeah.
It'd be pretty inconvenient.
Yeah.
So would you rather your deal be lost or the inconvenience of driving?
Yeah, all right. I understand. So when I was watching a bunch of your things, I kept hearing like escrow. What does escrow mean?
I mean, escrow's
Yeah, escrow
Is it
is
anything
Are you
so
important?
escrow is like a legal term, and that an escrow is, so if somebody has an escrow account, so lawyers typically have escrow accounts, and title companies have escrow accounts, and a lot of times they're synonymous because the lawyer owns the title company. So when something goes into escrow, it's really going into a third party account that's a neutral to the transaction, meaning they don't have a buy-in in the transaction.
depends. Some states are different with it, and some title companies do escrow differently. But
Correct. It's really,
Yeah,
it's going into a verified account, and someone's in charge, and it's usually has oversight. It's got protections in it, and you're better off putting it in escrow as opposed to giving it to a realtor, or worst case, giving it to the seller. So escrow is going to insinuate you have protections in case something goes wrong. So you're not just handing the money. Listen, if you say you're doing a $500 deposit or a $100 deposit and you give it to the seller, there's no guarantee they're going to close or anything. So if the deal doesn't work out and it's in escrow, you can technically get your deposit back as long as you follow the your contract.
Right. So also with driving for dollars and reverse driving for dollars, right? Obviously, I know the difference, but what I'm saying is, so if I'm driving for dollars, right, and I see a distressed house, right, I can go put a sticky note on there. Can I go put a sticky note on there and also look it up on TrueSearch.com and call them at the same time?
sure,
So like basically do both at once.
yeah, it's in freelisting.com. We talk about it.
Yeah. All right. Because like I was thinking, if I just go put sticky notes, am I only gonna put sticky notes, or should I call them also, or is like
I mean,
have
I
to.
would probably take all the calls first, and then the
Yeah.
ones that didn't call you back on the sticky note, call them.
All right. With finding cash buyers, like let's I can just DM. I've been DMing a bunch of cash buyers, but also like if I get a house when I DM one, should I like DM them my house and be like, look, are you interested in this, or should I first DM them like,
Go
are
to
you interested?
freelisting.com. Have
Mhm.
you gone through the challenge when I talked about dispositions?
I'm not at the challenge yet.
Yeah,
I'm on
you haven't gone through
acquisition.
there.
Yeah.
So you're on acquisitions. Go through dispositions course. Okay. I recommend
Alright.
everyone go through the course before asking me questions, because in that course, it explains specifically you do not get the address out to the cash buyer unless they're vetted and qualified and all this stuff, because you could lose the
Yep.
deal potentially.
And Abraham, like, we appreciate you coming on the live, and we're letting everybody know it's real and authentic. But what I want you to do is go through freewholesaling. Go through the entire thing.
Yeah. Go
You
through the
should
whole
go
course.
through it like multiple times. Like, you got to consume it, because it's you're getting a huge value, because like we make it free, and we got over 25 years experience in there. What I don't want to do is, we're only on so much time. I got a lot of people like waiting here. I can't spoon feed you this stuff, dude. You're going to have to read it. You're going to have to practice it. And the real value of these masterminds, and I appreciate you coming on, is bring your struggles and like the properties you're working on, and then we try to problem solve with you. But me and Zach sitting here spoon feeding you, it's Like, you got to be respectful of everybody on these things. Like, we're not accomplishing anything by spoon feeding you what's already online.
Sure.
That's the beauty of the internet. I'm just being honest with you. And I believe most people are going to agree with you. Go through it. Take advantage of it. Me and Zach Hinton are spoon feeding it. You're not going to learn a lot by doing that. And I want you to go through it. You know where to find us. We're on
That's
6
it.
days a week.
It's disrespectful to everybody else's time because there's a lot of people that have deals and need help with specific probates and stuff like that. And it's disrespectful to my time. So I want to help as many people as possible. So go through the course, man.
Yeah, I understand. I'm like binging your course like 6 hours a day. So I'm just halfway through there, but I'll finish it. I'll ask you questions.
Okay, we'll get it. Cause like, you got to call back with like,
with real questions.
You got to have, like, you're only going to get the value out of this if you have high quality questions, but like spoon feeding questions like this, like.
But our best one-on-ones we always do to help the most people out, which you can't go through the course, is number one. Hey, I'm in this market. What should I do? Love action plans, right? Hey, I have a seller. I'm having difficult. I tell you exactly what to say. Hey, I'm on the hub of getting a deal. Like I remember last week, Cole had a deal.
Yeah.
He was talking to a seller and he kind of got stuck. And I told him what to say. Guess what he did after the live? Got a deal locked up because I told him exactly what to say, how to go over the objections, things like that. So go after it, man. Come back. I'd love to help you out. You're probably going to go through the whole course by the end of the week. And by Tuesday, you're probably going to have a million questions. I'd love to help.
All right, man. Thank you.
Okay, bud.
I'll be back on, man. See you.
Oh, all right. Kyle.
What's going on?
How are you?
Hey, Kyle. What's up?
Doing good. Yeah, just got a couple of questions on a deal I'm working on right now. So it's a probate, it's a pre-probate deal. It hasn't gotten filed yet, but the one owner who owned the property passed away. But the heirs of the property are saying there's an annuity. So I don't really know much about annuities.
So is that an investment vehicle or were they receiving annuity? Like what kind of an annuity?
They said they were, I honestly didn't even know what an annuity was. But they said they were working with an attorney and trying to get it all squared away. So I don't know if the two heirs, which are the sisters of the past owner, are beneficiaries or not. So I'm really not sure.
So here's the cool part. Annuity really, like I'm talking, was this an older person?
Yeah. Yep. Older.
It most likely was an investment vehicle, which in easy terms is it's kind of like stocks. We don't care. Oh, the person that passed away owned $500,000 in, Walmart stock. I'm not wholesaling that. So I don't care. The annuity, I could care less. It's the property that I care about, right? So unless the annuity was some REIT or something or a real estate they own, which it's definitely not, most of these annuities, you don't even have to think about it. So I wouldn't worry about it. Look it up, see how it works. But for most annuities, it's like, all right, I give you $500,000 and then I'll get 600 a month.
Like a predictable income.
So it wouldn't be something you'd have to deal with unless it's associated to a house or something like that.
There's so many variables,
so many of them,
and it just sometimes there's a cash out at the end. But the only effect the annuity, it's going to have no effect on the property. I assume that there's a property you're interested in, right?
Yeah.
So the only thing the annuity is going to qualify what type of probate they have to do. For the majority, most people, the biggest asset they own is their home. And for that, they can kind of do what we call this, to simplify this, like an express probate. If that's it, and they have a limited amount of assets, which most people do, then it goes easy. Now, when people start to get large, when people, like somebody passes away that owns a large corporation, or they own like a ton of real estate, the probate can get complicated. So each state has a threshold. So one of them's single or married, and then the only direction you need to get. And by the way, you can easily get this from your title company or a probate attorney that's associated with the title company. The only reason I would even be interested in that information, if they have millions of dollars of asset.
Yeah, I think it was just the one property the lady owned. It was her personal residence. It's in Florida.
Here's the good news is, unless the annuity over qualifies them, which means they got to do a formal probate, the property.
That's how it affects.
But the property's still the property. It just take more time. But the way we teach how to do probates is, remember, you're only interested in what?
The property.
That's it. So the rest of the stuff, probate takes care of all assets, bank accounts, stocks, bonds, RVs, boats, cars. You're just interested in that. So our technique is just once there's a designated personal representative, if you can enter into a contract with them, the rest is just paperwork with the lawyer, with the title company. And you want to stay as far away from the attorney as humanly possible because they're going to make your life difficult.
Okay.
So once you enter into an agreement with that homeowner, you now don't need permission from the attorney, and you instruct advice to the homeowner, to the PR, the personal representative, the executor, say, listen, you don't have to wait to sell that piece of real estate till the probate's done, which all the lawyers tell them. You can actually file for a motion to get that liquidated. You talk to your title company, they'll tell you what the exact motion is, and that's it. Don't ever talk to the attorney directly unless it's very cordial and they're asking you a solid question. Most attorneys call you to chew you out. How dare you enter in a contract without my approval? You can't buy this till the probate's done. That's all lies. It's 100% lies. So just focus on connecting when they designate the person in charge, the PR or the executor, and enter into an agreement. Sooner the better, because most attorneys are going to block you and tell the owner they got to get an appraisal. You got to list it with a realtor. I have to review the contract. I'm going to charge a fee for it. And it's all smoke and mirrors to basically inflate their prices and make them bigger than they actually are. So if you know that going into it, and we all know it, if you watch this, your strategy is try to connect with them, build rapport. It takes a little bit more time to rapport, enter into that agreement. Once you have the agreement, you have a ton of leverage. If you do it the other way, you'll rarely get a deal. And that was my technique on why I got so successful at probates. And that's what I share with you guys. The annuity has nothing effect other than the type of probate they're going to do.
Okay. So the annuity, with an annuity, like they can't, the beneficiaries can't receive the property just from an annuity.
It depends, man.
Okay.
Annuities can be very, very complicated. I'm not an annuity expert, but remember, if the PR usually knows what's going on, by the way. Okay. So if the PR knows what's going on, they'll tell you, hey, here's the deal. If they freely and willingly want to sell you the house and enter in the agreement, that's all you have to care about. The rest is Now, every now and then I'll enter in agreements with them and it's not going to work out. An attorney calls me, he goes, hey, there's this document, there's that. That's not my job. I'm not going to sit there and decipher through all that stuff. Nor do I want to enter an agreement on someone that legally doesn't have the authority to sell me the house. And so by designating the PR, that usually clarifies a lot of the stuff. And then it's the PR's job on how they want to liquidate each asset within the probate. And listen, I've entered into agreements and found out you can't do that because of this document or it's a complicated trust. I'd rather just get it under contract and sort it out later, right?
Yeah, that's.
And then even in the end, they'll still wind up selling it to you once the title clears. The only difference is A, it's going to cost you more, and B, it's going to cost you more time. So you don't need to be a lawyer and be an expert on how to do probates. You've just got to find people that are in probate, the PR specifically. You have to build rapport and let them know you want to help them out, and you're not here to force them to do anything. And if they make a decision to sell and you strike an agreement, you enter into an agreement, the sooner the better. And then you'll sit back and follow directions from a title company, from the seller, and if you need to, with the attorney. But at that point, the only thing the attorney can do to stop you is show you a legal document why you can't do it. Don't worry about that. That's like a very small, minute chance that they're going to do something like that.
I agree.
Okay. And
I'm not an annuity expert, so I can't go into detail without. And even if I looked at the policy, you wouldn't want my advice on it.
Okay. It's just, it hasn't been filed, probate hasn't been filed either. So I don't know.
Talk to the sellers.
Okay.
Talk to the sellers. So when somebody passes away and a majority of people have a will, in their will, they pretty much specify who they want to be in charge. And that person has to voluntarily go, okay, I accept the responsibility. And then they have to file a petition with an attorney to open the probate. And that's how it goes. The sooner you can even get this stuff done. Guys, I enter agreements all the time before they even file the probate motion. Why? Because I get a commitment from the seller, and a commitment goes a long way.
I agree.
Yeah. Okay.
So
that would be my next question is what do you think, how should I word it, of getting this thing signed quick? My next phone call, I want to try to get it signed. And they're motivated. They're motivated to sell. They're yeah, we want to get rid of this. They're out of state. So certainty.
and leverage the current market conditions. My God, dude, like this is the time to do it. The offer is only going to get less. If they let that thing sit in probate for a year, do you think your offer is going to be less or more in a year?
Less.
It's going to be less.
Let me know.
Plus, you got you said it's in Florida, right?
Yeah.
You got hurricanes. You got utilities. Insurance is a nightmare in the state of Florida, and most people in probate, if they're highly motivated, they just want certainty to get the property done so it doesn't eat them alive in their estate. And in the state of Florida, if you own a property for like a year or two while it's waiting probate, I guarantee you're going to lose a lot of equity in that deal. So leverage current market conditions, but most importantly, leverage certainty and your confidence to get the deal done.
Okay. Yeah, it's like a hoarder house. It's super messed up too. So
oh God, so that's it. Certainty and just getting it done. There's a certain amount of the population that loves to work with wholesalers. Like when they enter an agreement, they're like, so this is done. If I do it, I don't have to worry about it anymore. Like pretty much yes. And if they give you a smoking deal, you'll even help them out. Like you can take over the utilities, you can take care of the lawn, you can have somebody like do property management while you're waiting to get the final clearance from the title company. So certainty is number one. Leveraging market conditions is number two for you to get a quick contract.
Okay, awesome. I appreciate it, guys. Thank you so much.
Okay, man. Good luck, Kyle.
Yep. Thanks.
And people often, they don't take the value of people's certainty. If you ever had one to go, man, if you could just fix this now, I would do anything.
Yeah.
And that's where the motivated seller comes from. Have you ever had something like, if you could get this done and I know it's done, it's like, whoo, it's off my chest and it's done. That's the value of like probates. And if you find the right motivation, it's a win-win for all parties involved.
I agree. We got Corey.
Hey, Zach. So, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Corey with the hoodie.
Yeah.
I love it.
He's the guy in gym pumping it up with the hoodie and the headphones.
Oh, yeah.
Man.
So I took your advice on doing the Pittsburgh market instead of doing it virtually in the Pensacola like I talked last week. So I got close to 400 leads and I got a bunch of motivated sellers. I got this one in Aliquippa, but my market, and I'm actually talking to a realtor right now just about because I accidentally called him calling a property. And he was telling me that the Pittsburgh market is very weird with the comps because every part of the city's different. So I have what?
It is.
Yeah. So like that's why I'm struggling a little bit. Two of the properties were duplexes, and the realtor saying that the one he's a realtor, but he does wholesale on the side, he says. So he's kind of helping me with my numbers, but at the same time, you know, I also want to try and fail by myself. I'm going to fail, you know, instead of so I don't want to necessarily go with him, but I'm also just kind of having him help me out. But like I said, I have the one duplex. The dude wants 86,000, but I know because from watching your videos, multifamilies are a little bit harder to comp. So I got the rents and stuff. And then there was this other guy that I was talking to. He has a fourplex, and from what Rick said, he was kind of saying, well, if the price is right. So I haven't really been pushing too hard for him because he doesn't seem like he's very motivated. But
that's a game show, man.
Yeah. So
you'll never get anywhere with that one.
Yeah, that's why I kind of I just kind of gave up on that one. But I have this other property. The house is a complete nightmare. I went over today and took pictures of it, and the seller, he wants 20,000 for it. But the comps, I'm having a hard time running the comps. I found a comp after repair value, it's worth about 120,000. But this property itself, it's been vacant for 5 years, he says. But he's wanting 20,000. He's supposed to be, you know, fixing it up, but he's saying I consider a cash offer because, you know, I'm working a lot. I don't have a whole lot of time to, you know, work on it. So just from randomly, because there's not a whole lot of comps on the street. So that's why I was having a hard time. I shot him an offer because I tried talking to him on the phone. He said, I don't want to talk on the phone. I'll do text or email. So I'm like, so I just randomly shot him an offer of 6,000. And he goes, I was looking more around the 20,000 area, but I was talking to the realtor and I was like, look, this guy wants 20,000 for it. I have pictures. I sent him the pictures. He gave me a thumb up. Hasn't really ran the numbers or anything yet, but I'm just trying to figure out do you have any recommendations on how to run the comps in the Pittsburgh area? Like, should I talk to more realtors and stuff to get the information? Because I want to try and give this guy an offer and get it under contract. But if I get it under contract for 20, I don't even know if I'd be able to sell it, for 25 because of the condition, because it's very hard in this area that I'm doing it in.
Yeah. So you got two things going for you, right? If it's a multifamily, just know it's
no. Yeah, no.
For the one deal.
For the 20,000, that one's not a multifamily.
No, I know.
Just,
but for that multifamily, a lot of buyers want that. And so for the deal you got right now, here's the funniest part. I personally would probably not know what it's worth. We have deals right now where we don't even know what the thing's worth.
Clueless.
But like I've said this before, it's like, do you know how much a pair of Air Jordans, whatever the one in 2004 pristine is worth right now?
Yeah, no, I have
you
no
do?
idea.
No, do you know how much? Do you like Pokemon?
No.
All right.
I don't either.
So you don't like Pokemon. Do you know how much a pristine Charizard card from 2004 is worth? You have no idea, right?
No.
No. But guess what we're going to do? Let's go ask a Pokemon expert how much he is willing to buy it for.
Yeah.
And that's because we don't know, right? We can talk all day about it, but like, why don't we just ask people that actually know what they're talking about, what it is? Like, it's like Pawn Stars. Let's go ask the expert.
Yeah.
And you just get a range. And so really what I can tell you is if you can generally find a range of what it's worth and just lowball the seller and you're kind of having some conversation from here, it's kind of weird is only want to do over email. On this specific example, what I would do for you is because you can't in person, you could probably get this thing locked up for 10. Over email, you're probably going to be stuck at 15. So $5,000 is worth going and seeing the guy. Say, you know what, Mr. Seller, have you seen this house yet?
Yeah, I took pictures of it today. Like,
does the guy live near there?
No, he doesn't. He has a lockbox on it because I tried to meet up with him yesterday. He goes, work. That's why I have a lockbox on it because I wanted to, see the interior because he was like, it's not livable. So then I went over and looked at it, and it's in bad shape. It's almost like that house that I saw on your live or one of your videos yesterday of the house was just completely, and then it was demoed. But from the pictures, it looked like crap. So that's kind of what it is. Like, it's extremely run down. But in the Aliquippa area, even after repair, I feel like a lot of those houses only sell for 60 to 80,000 to 90,000. So the ARV on those homes aren't very high because it's a very bad crime area. So that's why I didn't know because it was completely run down, if 20,000 would be too high. But if he's not going to sell it for anything less, would I be better off, just trying to get it under contract and maybe just winging it to try and see if I can find an investor that, would.
So you have two options here. You have two options. So one thing I would probably tell you to do, and I'm not a lawyer or anything, but I could tell you try this. Try to get him at like 12.
Well, that's what I'm going to try and do. I'm going to try and get him to 60% of what he was asking, which would be about 12,000. But I have a feeling that he's not going, but I'm going to try anyway. I'm going to try and get him as low as I can.
But hear me out, Corey. Maybe get for 12. Maybe he's like, no, 17's. I'm like, okay, you know what, Mr. Whatever, we can do 17, but I'm going to have some people come by and give me some inspections on it and then just really give me some good quotes. I think I can do it, but give him some leeway, disclose to him, hey, if I really got to have some people really look at it because I know the market's a little weird and things are costing a lot for renovations.
You need that lockbox number, buddy.
Well, no, he has it.
Okay.
So
I got it.
So he has it. So just make sure you notice that you're going to have a bunch of people go through it. And guess what you're going to do when you lock it up? You're going to bring as many buyers as you can to the property once it's locked up, and you're going to see what they're at. Maybe because they're going to be your partner. The one guy says, no, we're going to have to be at 14 to buy this thing. Go back and say, hey, you know what, Mr. Seller? I talked to my guys because of and your cash buyer is going to tell you because of the ductwork or whatever, blah, 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 the drywall. Because of this, Mr. Seller, it's going to cost us a lot more money. We're going to have to be around 12,000 or 10 on this. Okay. He says, no. Okay, no big deal. Just let you know, I'm going to have to get out of this because unfortunately it needs a lot more work than I thought. Understandable. Okay. That's going to be the best excuse you're going to have for it. And I'm only saying this because you have a lockbox, and that is amazing.
Yeah, and make sure you build the longest contingency period you can, inspection, so you have enough time because cash buyers are slower in this market.
Oh yeah,
and these 7 and 14 day turnarounds are challenging now. So
for my first deal, I was probably going to do a 30 to 60 day.
I agree. Like it gives you leadway. And then what you'll do, Corey, through this process is, remember how I always tell you guys, all real estate is local. This is more true in your market. We have the same problem here in Florida. I go like one block over, and it's like night and day as far as pricing and values. And I started out in some really rough areas when I started doing this, and I had the same challenges as you do. And like, so sometimes you put it under contract, you make the best educated decision, and you build in a 30 or 60 day contingency, and then you get feedback from cash buyers.
Yeah.
And then if the deal doesn't work out, you either renegotiate it or you get a life lesson on like how to comp your neighborhood. And after a few months, you go, okay, staying away from this side. This side works, these types of deals. And there's no, I wish I had a piece of software that would give you all that stuff. That's why all real estate is like local. Your worst case scenario, guys, and even if you're struggling on something like this, figure out what the land value is and like just try to get a slight discount on that worst case scenario.
Yeah.
Flipping over to the second property, do you want to take that one on, or what was it? A duplex?
He's doing the duplex. Same thing, man.
Say,
Figure out what. Go ahead.
So the duplex, like you said, from the first call, he said 86. So I told him I wanted to get more information. The realtor was telling me, to get some information on the leases, the rents, and, all that. So I contacted him yesterday. He's supposed to send me pictures of it. From what I know, it's in pretty decent condition. He said the one unit's running for $550 and the other one's running for $580. So, and the realtor texted me back, and they pay all utilities. The tenants pay utilities. So what's that?
How much are the rents?
550, 580.
Okay.
Yeah. So he said that, because he said he's from Oregon, so he's an out-of-state owner. He has a property manager, fix everything. He said it's in good condition. He's never had problems with tenants, even during COVID, not paying rents or anything. And the realtor said, if the tenants find out if the tenants pay utilities, he said if they pay utilities, it'd be great cash flow. So at 86, the comps were hard on the multifamily, because at first I thought it was kind of the same as single family, but then after I watched your videos, it was more based off of the NOIs and stuff rather than the actual comps. So I was thinking that I was going to try and call him back and see if I could get it, for maybe 75. Cause he said about 5 years ago, he had an offer for a guy who wanted to buy it for 74,000 with 10% down and over 20 years. He's like, I'm not doing that. I'm not going to be alive in 20 years. So do you think if I could get him down, to 76,000 all cash and sell it to an investor, that would be good? Like 76,000 with $1,000 in rent plus the tenants paying utilities. Like, do you think it'd be a hard sell? I guess you could say.
Give me that book.
This one?
No, right. Yes. Corey.
Okay.
Yeah.
Go for no. He's going to say yes to that. Go for no.
Okay.
So let's do this. Yeah. What's uncomfortable to you?
So that's because that's what I've been.
75. You're thinking about it. Let's go 20% below that. 60.
You should feel sick in your belly when you make this offer.
Offer him 60.
The reason is it gives you options, and you're going to get a counter out of them without going, hey, Mr. Seller, what's the cheapest you'd give me this house? It's cheesy. So just go listen. What if I offer you 50 grand and just shut up? He's going to reject it. If he takes it, are you upset if he took that offer? Would you be pissed?
No. Or
no.
Yeah, I would because, yeah. Well,
yeah,
I would
because
yeah.
So it's psychological. Did you know, like, if I turn around and like, I've had this happen to me, like it's embarrassing how many times it's happened to me. I've made people what I thought was a low offer, and they go, hell yes. I'm just like, how am I getting screwed?
Yeah.
And you start going through all this BS in your head, and like, your worst kid, that's why you have to have it brutally low so you can invoke a response, because 9 times out of 10 said yes, they're probably hiding something pretty major on you.
Yeah.
And you have no chance of ever renegotiating it. So if you start low, and number one, it's psychological because now you're going up and he feels like he's winning. Okay.
Yeah.
Number two, you get a counter out of it without doing this cheesy line. If I paid you all cash and close quickly, what's the least amount you'd take? That's how I was taught 20 years ago in this business. Everybody snuffs through that. So you guys got to go brutally low. How old's the gentleman?
I want to say he's probably in his 60s or so.
Yeah, 60, 70. So
I
it's,
did that on the first property because I'd been following you guys and you guys kept saying tell me go for no. So that's what I did on that other fourplex. You know, I just spit a number. I said 54,000. He's like, no, I'm looking more in the 250,000 range.
yeah, there
Which
you go.
to me, you know, that doesn't necessarily not make sense because it's an 8-bed, 4-bath,
Yeah.
fourplex. All 4
Yeah.
units are rented out. So
Yeah.
then I'm like, how could I have possibly been that far off on my comps? But that's what I was saying because I was originally, when I first gave him that offer, I was going off the residential comps, not the multifamily. So then when I look back on, I'm like 250 for a fourplex. That probably he said it was outdated, so it probably did need some work. You know, I don't have the exact rental prices, but that might actually not be a bad deal.
So,
but he was the one that said the price is right. So
so see, that's when you hear the price is right, it's like a code word. It's a psychological retail. Like it's basically like if you give me $1 million, I'll consider selling it to you. Like we hear this all the time. I'm like, okay, like I'm not going to spend energy on it. But all multis, when it comes down to it, especially when you sell them, it all comes down to the cash flow. So you know how to calculate the NOI. It's actually pretty simple on these properties.
Yeah, it should be like your rents and stuff plus like
it's your rents. That's the income. Okay. And most people assume it's 100%. You got to understand, ideally you're going to have a month or two off there. So take a month or two off of rent. Usually the banks use 80%. I'd probably use 85, 90. So if you're getting 1,000 a month times 12, that's 12,000. Multiply that by 0.85 or 0.9, whichever one you're more comfortable doing it. Then you figure out what the taxes are on the property. That should be a public record on the property appraiser site. And then you're going to have to kind of guesstimate on the insurance. You can get that information more exact from the seller, but you don't really need it. And there's your net right there. That's your net number. You take that net number and you divide it by the ask price or what you need to do. And that's going to give you basically the fancy words, a cap rate, which is short for capitalization rate, AKA ROI, which is your return on investment. So the thing is, that's how investors are going to base if they're going to invest in it. And really anything below 10% in today's market on multifamily, it's like a no-go. You're never going to be able to pitch it unless it's in like San Francisco or something like that. Also, when you get in problem neighborhoods, when you see a cap rate of like 25, 30%, it means you're probably buying a huge problem and you're probably going to lose money on it. Like a lot of people don't talk about this. So it's like, if you ever have a buddy goes, listen, give me $1,000 and I'll give you 5,000 back in 2 months. Would you be like, what am I getting into? Right. Like, you're going to like, how am I going to get screwed? So I'm just telling you, when it's too high of a number, that's it. And you can play with the number. So once you get the NOI, divide it by what he or she's asking. And then you kind of have a number. If the number is like brutally low, like you have to counter it and like go for a no on it. So it always comes down to the rent. Ideally the rent. So you want to ideally buy it when it has a month-to-month renter in there. And that usually after 1 year, then most leases roll over to month-to-month. That's ideal. If he just signs a brand new lease, it's very suspect because it's like most people who sign new leases are not interested in selling the property.
Yeah. But Corey, just understand this. Because somebody else offered 75,000, they're doing some stupid creative finance thing on a wholesaling deal with an older guy with a bunch of equity, which is just stupid. Someone probably watched the YouTube video, tried it. That's 75 with all these terms. That's probably equal to 60 or 55 on actual cash fee.
Yeah.
So just understand that 60 is actually pretty good. 75 is not even a comparable offer. So you'll be fine. Corey, you're doing really well. So you're getting there. I mean, I remember Corey, last week he said, I'm thinking about doing Pensacola. I'm like, where do you live? He said, Pittsburgh. I'm like, just do Pittsburgh. Man. A week later, guess what? He got his butt out of bed and he went after it. And guess what? Now he's calling me the next week and be like, hey, I got 2 great leads and I'm trying to negotiate. Dude, this is a great progression. Yeah. So I just want to give you a congratulations. You're not completely there yet. But dude, you're doing very well. In a week,
you're learning, dude. Like you're learning amazing. Exponentially, and this is all the stuff school's never going to teach you. The reality is, most families not going to teach you it. And if you master the skill, how old are you?
I'm 22.
Dude, Like
Yeah.
I didn't even start this stuff till I was in my mid 30s, man. So like you're
Yeah,
taking
I'm
action, and it seems a little painful now. It's just because it's the unknown,
Yeah, but
and that's the sign you're going the right direction.
I like as Zach said, I'm just trying to put in the work now. But
No,
my
you
last
do.
question, real quick, going back to the first property, I want to get that under contract before I bring cash buyers to the house, right? Correct.
Yes.
The
You
house.
Okay,
just
that's
because
what
you
I
have that
thought.
realtor friend, it can get
Yeah.
squirrely. He could steal the
Okay.
lock it up.
Yeah. Okay. I will do that. Thank you. I really appreciate your guys' help with this.
All right.
Okay,
Do you know how to make the offers the right way? All that stuff.
Like I said, I'm starting out, so I'm just now starting to make offers. So I'm sure I'm
Give
going
me
to
your
fail a few
offer.
times. But what's
Give me
that?
some offers. Give me your offer. Like you're trying to close me. What's
Hey,
your offer going to be?
So I actually just got back from looking at your property. I'm gonna, with all the work that it looks like it needs done, I would obviously have to talk to some people, but I'm looking about. I could probably offer you about 10,000 for it, cash, and close in 30 to 60 days.
It's not bad. That's good to go. I mean, there's a million other ways to lowball it, but
Yeah.
dude, that's not bad at all. So
The idea is
use that
just
up.
taking action, and then you can build
Yeah.
up your quantity. And then as you're kind of failing forward and you're learning, the idea is you can make money while you do it and progress. Most people they get their first few rejections, like, I can't do this. This is scary. I'm
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
you can't, this isn't like school. You just keep moving forward. You're doing what 95% of the population won't do. I didn't even figure out till I was like 34, but I did it out of frustration. So if you do it on purpose, especially when some of you guys are younger, man, like you got to be excited, because it's like,
Yeah.
I
Well,
remember
that's
I got my first 2 years, got my teeth kicked in. I'm like, what am I doing? And I was in my 30s. I was a little bit more mature, but some people go, well, Rick, that's an advantage. I go, no. Try doing this with a couple kids, a mortgage, and a wife that wants certainty and like guarantees. And I'm like, it's harder because all the pressure on the world is on you. And by the way, I had no playbook. I had nothing. I just went out in the world and tried it. And I really screwed it up the first year, but I still made more than I did at my job screwing it up.
Well, that's kind of where I'm at. I'm not gonna lie. I was a truck driver for a year. That's how I got out of debt and stuff. I was making 100,000, but I want to have control of my time. I want to.
That's a tough life, isn't it?
Yeah. So that's why, money, like I would much rather make less starting my own business in the first 6 months, really getting it going, than, be making $100,000 a year, but being away working 60 hours a week. So overall, I want control of my time. So that's why everybody's mad at me right now around me, because they're just, they're the older generation. They're used to what,
I got it.
so that's what, that's what I'm doing. Yeah.
You got two good sellers, man. You're doing well, dude. I don't think you'd do this if you were virtually doing it in Pensacola. That's my opinion. So
I agree.
I think that was a good move from us. So keep it up. I know you got this, and get some deals, man.
You got it, man.
Thank you. I appreciate
a great
it.
job, Corey.
Last thing, Corey, the only way you're going to shut up your parents and people around you is by showing you money in your bank account and check.
Yeah.
So
I know, and that's why.
Shut them up.
Thank you. I appreciate it, guys.
Because you could always go back to being a truck driver anytime you
I
want.
know. That's the way I look at it. I always have that in the back end. If I run out of money with what I have saved up now, because I don't get a deal or whatever, which I have full faith that I will. But if I don't, I always have something to fall back on. So it's like,
that's how I shut up my friends. That's how you shut up your friends. It's the only way to shut them up.
And by the way, they're probably watching. Family is the hardest critics on you when you do this business. They're because you got to understand they do it out of love and they want you to be protected. But like we only get one life in theory, and you got to make the best of it. And it's like we're in a world, if you can make some short-term sacrifices, the gains are insurmountable. Yeah. And we're in a society where everybody wants everything on the quick. And I tried the quick, I tried the whole college. It wasn't quick at all. It was 12 years of pain in my life. And it built up. I couldn't take it anymore. So you're making an educated decision, and the risk is going to be worth the reward. So, I'm telling you just got to keep going through. And I think you made a great decision. Those of you guys struggle between virtual and local, always do your local market. If you want to add on a virtual because you want some extra stimuli, just understand it takes a little bit more time to get a virtual market, because you even have challenges in your local market figuring it out, right? Imagine if you're a couple thousand miles away, it's much more challenging. Yeah. So awesome. You got it. Keep going, man. Okay, man.
Have a good one. Man, that's great. I mean, last week he's like, well, should I do virtual? Should I not? Now he's like, oh my gosh, I got these two sellers. he's going after it, right? And I think one big thing for him here is because he went through the struggle of being a truck driver, and he's been through and he made money doing obviously.
We got another truck driver on there.
But, yeah, we got a lot of truck drivers on here, but because he went through the struggle and he knows grind. When he has to go and talk to 1,000 sellers, that's nothing to him, right? Like he already knows what grind is, so it's not as difficult, right?
Yeah, and dude, let me tell you, driving one of those big rigs, man. I see what you guys pull, like the fuel station stuff like that, and you regular little cars are so mean to trucks, because you don't understand when you're weaving in and out. It's like torture to these people.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, that just looks stressful, like driving those big rigs.
So,
I always thought, I go, man, I bet you have some interesting conversations with yourself being on the road. Seems like fun at first, and it's like, man, it might take me out if I have too many conversations.
Daniel's back on here. Daniel, what's your contact rate?
Hey Zach, hey Rick. I actually did go back and check my contact rate. I think I was overthinking yesterday. I actually did keep track of how many hellos. So out of the 2,000 drawing for dollars leads, I got about 600 hellos. And out of those, I got about 11 qualified leads. So I guess my first question was about following up, because some of those, out of those 11 leads, I got a lot of no's out of my offers that I gave. So I wanted to ask, how often should I follow up? Like, should I follow up 2 weeks, a month later, or
I would
I'm just trying to
call
put that together.
I would call instantly all the 70% that did not give a yes, or no, 70% that did not give it a hello. Call them again.
Okay. Yeah,
That's your next thing
I
to do.
did spend a lot of time doing that yesterday as well.
Yeah, that's probably the next step.
Okay. And I actually do have 3 leads that could be potential deals. So the first one, I think that they want to sell. Well, the husband wants to sell, but the wife, she's not on board. So
That's
he
not
told me
good.
to
That's
give
not a
him a
good mix,
call
man.
back. Yeah, he told me to give him a call back in like 2 weeks.
Yeah, let it sink in.
I heard you say earlier about the market incentives. So I didn't actually give him the market incentive when I gave the offer. So given that I did not do that, how would my conversation go when I reach back out to him 2 weeks later and say, hey,
like, here's the reality. I assume is his wife or girlfriend, or
it's his wife.
okay. You can't push it, because the problem is if he's on board and she's not, it's a marital asset and they both have to be on board. And if she thinks you're working him and you're not in her best interest, she's not going to be happy with you.
Yep.
So like, honestly, until they have some sort of an agreement, like there's no leveraging anything. Like you cannot, if a marital couple is not in agreement, you can't, like, there's just some things you can't do as a wholesaler. Like, trust me, dude, I've been married a long time. There's just certain stuff you have to give the significant other the time they need to conquer it. And that's not your job. That is your contact sellers. And if you go over and try to violate it, it's going to blow up in your face. Just wait. And honestly, I don't think 2 weeks is a lot of time. So if you help me out, anybody's married here, it just takes time. And like, it's most couples that own a piece of property together, it's their biggest single decision they make outside of marriage and children. And so you need to give them the time to respect that. So until his wife says, hey, I'm interested in meeting with you, there's nothing you can do, because you can leverage the husband, but the reality, it's the wife who's kind of make the final decision here. So I'm not trying to read too much into it, but do not do the leverage on the current market conditions, because that's unless she's on board, it ain't going to work.
Yeah. That's something you say when somebody's made the decision to sell.
Yeah.
So yeah, don't even add that on yet.
So you're still waiting for consent. And until you have consent, you can't. This is where a lot of wholesalers, they think they can push their way through it, and you can't. Think about it. Are you married?
No.
Okay, I'm not going to comment. But so when you marry someone, you own stuff jointly together. It's how the law reads it. So you have to make a decision together. And anybody who tries to go around that doesn't respect the foundation of it, and it creates huge problems. That's why divorces are really challenging as a wholesalers we deal with it. Why? Because one calls and goes, listen, I need to get rid of this thing as fast as possible. Awesome. He goes, what about your wife? Well, we're getting divorced, but she'll go along with whatever I say. I'm like, you sure? And then we get all excited. We prepare all these contracts. And she's like, you're crazy. I'm listening to that with a realtor. It's like, they're getting divorced for a reason. And you have to understand that. So always respect the relationship. Always make sure you have the decision makers' consent. And if you don't have them, especially two parties, do not do any leverage or any type of squeeze, because it's never going to work. It's going to backfire. So just got to kind of wait it out and understand it could take more than 2 weeks.
Okay. All right. On the second one, I was really trying hard yesterday to get a number out of these. They're a married couple as well. I tried everything. I tried the volley method. I did not give a price yet because I wanted to know where they stood. And they just, how would you guys recommend that I get a price out of a seller, even if they're,
You ask.
even if,
Yeah, you can do that too.
Well, it's like,
There's
so
two ways to do it.
go ahead.
You go.
Well, here's how I do it. You've tried all the techniques we taught you. Remember, nothing's 100%. Welcome to life. So you try volley, you try good cop, bad cop.
You do the dollar bill method.
You do
Did you do the dollar
yeah,
bill method?
I use that. They
So
laughed me off.
So he laughed you off. So do you write a contract for $1?
No, I didn't.
$2?
No.
$3? Bro, I can go all day on
I
this.
mean, if you can't get to a price using all these techniques, they're not interested in selling.
Yeah.
Like that. That's just anyone who's
Well,
selling a price. The worst case scenario is they give you an overinflated retail price, right? Which doesn't scare me at all.
Yeah.
Right.
It lets me
their
find out what their
motivation-
motivation.
Yeah,
Right.
their motivation was they're retiring. They're retired and they're selling their portfolio. So I wanted to basically gauge and see how much they want to get out of this one house, because I think they own a bunch of properties around Corpus Christi.
So just to give you a heads up, when someone says the word portfolio, it kind of makes the hairs stand up on the back of my neck. It means they're seasoned. This isn't their own home, right? It's an investment property.
Yes.
So they're most likely going to be seasoned professionals. They know what they're doing. And
Or they look at it like that too. So I honestly do just go for the no on here.
you got to
Just
get a
do it,
number,
yeah.
man. Otherwise, they're not
Get a
interested in
number.
selling.
We can debate it all day.
Okay.
Let's get a number.
Yeah. How you get that
Okay.
number is debatable. You
Yeah.
know?
Right. Okay. And for the third one, this is a new experience. So this guy, he wants to diversify his investment portfolio and invest in crypto. So what I did, he wants to invest in Bitcoin and Ethereum. So what I did was search up how much Bitcoin and Ethereum is going for, and I basically just offered him that. He doesn't want to go for it.
No, because that's not how closings work, dude. Like
Yeah.
you're not gonna. You theoretically can, but that's just to sound cool and stuff. When you look at all the fees and it's not going to be there. Now the fees aren't that crazy with that stuff, but offer him cash and then he can use the cash to do
Yeah.
that.
Stick
Because-
stick to the asset you're buying.
because
Don't try to
Yeah,
talk
that's
in
that's what
crypto.
I meant. I offered
Offer to
him
buy
the
it for cash.
cash.
I've
I-
never put that in our course. You know, offer them crypto if they like crypto. No, okay.
No, that's
Cash?
not what I meant.
Well, you just
so-
offered them that.
No, I'm saying I offered him how much the crypto was worth. So Bitcoin is at 16.
Okay.
No, no,
Dude,
no,
dude,
let-
Ethereum
let
is
me
at
finish.
Okay.
How much did you offer?
Ethereum is at 2,000.
So what did you
So-
offer him?
I offered him $18,000 cash.
Okay. So why did
And,
you look up the crypto prices?
just to give me a number, because he said he wanted to invest in those. So
But what? So you said you want to invest in those, but you still offered him 18,000 cash, or did you offer him Bitcoin for it?
no, I offered him $18,000 cash.
So why?
Why are we talking about the other
Yeah,
stuff?
why are we talking about the other stuff
It
then?
makes no sense.
No, I'm just saying that's what he wanted to invest in. So I gave him. I basically gave him the offer for him to invest in that.
That makes no sense to me, man.
Listen,
I'm
just
so confused.
always stick to the asset at hand, because
stick to
that's
that.
what you're going to learn to be the expert on. And when people go, oh, I want to do like a classic mistake, and I'm going to end it here. A lot of people go, well, if you can get me a condo, I'll sell you my house. And then a lot of people go, oh, I'll play realtor. I'll go get them a condo and I'll trade. No. Just go to a settlement for the house and then let them use the cash for what they desire that makes them happy.
Yeah.
And then just focus on, go, listen, when you sell a house, you can invest in whatever you want, and the cash will give you the ability to go anywhere, anytime to get what you want in life. That's it.
Bro, like if I've had people want to move to Mexico after, I'm not going to go speak Spanish to them and then act like I care about Mexico just because I want to get the, like,
Okay.
like, no, it's like, so I'm like, all right. Cause I'm not like, Cuando cuesta? I don't care. Okay, dude. I'm just literally going to go out here, offer them cash for the house. Once you start making it crazy and you start complicating it, you're going to lose out on the deal. That's it.
Okay.
You got it. Stick to what you know.
Stick to what you know.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, those were my only questions.
All right. Well, have a good one, Daniel. I appreciate it.
Awesome. Thank you, man.
Yeah. I'll take it easy.
See you, bud.
Oh. Guys, in wholesaling real estate, you can easily make over $40,000. If you want to do it, do the 40-40-44 method. If you want to learn how to do it, remember freewholesaling.com. We break it all down. If you got any value from this video, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe. Rick Ginn will be on tomorrow live
Absolutely.
at 1 p.m. And we'll see you guys soon. This is Zach Ginn signing out.
Rick Ginn signing out.
Have